to my Homeopathic Remedy of the Month series. This is a series where I'll bring you detailed information about a specific homeopathic remedy or remedies so that you can better understand the remedy and what conditions it can potentially be used for. As always, please note that the remedy or remedies discussed can be used for conditions mentioned, but aren't always the right remedy for your specific situation. If you are a home prescriber but do not see improvements from the remedies you use, please reach out to me for a consult so we can get your health moving in the right direction. This month, I'd like to talk about the remedy Eupatorium perfoliatum. Eupatorium perfoliatum, or Eupatorium for short, is also known as bone set. The reason for this is because it's been found to be highly useful in such illnesses like the flu, where bones tend to be very painful. The person might describe these pains as feeling as if the bones are going to break. These pains can be accompanied by fever, chills, and even nausea. Chilliness is one of the main keynotes of this remedy. And so you'll notice that the person in need of Eupatorium wants to be covered. They may even be shaking because they are so cold. But despite being so cold, they want to drink cold drinks. And sweating typically makes most of their complaints go away. Isn't that a picture-perfect example of how we feel when we have the flu? That's why this remedy is one of the first you should think of during the flu. Also associated with the flu are coughs. A cough that might respond well to Eupatorium is one in which the person has a sore, achy chest and rib cage during the cough. It may even lead them to feel the need to hold their chest when they cough. These coughs tend to be loose coughs that are worse at night and start from a tickling in the throat. A hoarse voice might also accompany the cough. A person might say that when they get on their hands and knees, the cough gets better. And it's a symptom just like this one, so strange, rare, and peculiar, that helps us identify Eupatorium versus other homeopathic remedies that can be used for coughs. You might remember that I talked about Drosera last month. It also had a cough that is worse at night and starts from a tickle in the throat. Now, Eupatorium is also a useful remedy for headaches, one in which the bones of the back of the head are so very painful, or where the person describes their headache feeling like there's a weight on the back of the head. Similarly to how I talked about the need to hold the chest when coughing, this person also feels the need to hold their head with their hands during a headache. Maybe they might even hold it up here. Their eyes might feel achy and sore, or there could be throbbing pains in the head, similar to another remedy I've talked about before, belladonna. Differently from all the other symptoms in which Eupatorium will be called for, the headaches are usually worse when sweating. As I said before, all other symptoms are generally relieved with sweating. Vomiting tends to improve these types of headaches. I remember back around the time of COVID that I had a horrible case of the flu. Maybe it was COVID, maybe it was a horrible cold. I don't really know. I didn't test myself. I just knew I was sick. The worst part of this illness was the headache. It was one of those bone-crushing headaches, just like I've described. Eupatorium was one of the remedies that I reached for during that illness. So if you ever get COVID and experience the symptoms I've described, reach for Eupatorium. Now, I mentioned that Eupatorium is also known as bone set. Not only does this help with bone pain during illness, but it can help with bone pain from fractures as well. You might think of Symphytum in this instance, but if Symphytum doesn't help relieve the pain, you should consider Eupatorium. Other symptoms that may be improved by the use of Eupatorium are gout pain, back pain, soreness of the flesh, and even liver pain. When I think about similar remedies to Eupatorium, I think about Gelsemium and Rhus. Both are additional remedies that would be used in cases of the flu with a fever. As a matter of fact, I like to use Eupatorium alternated with Rhus as a first go-to for the flu for my clients. Eupatorium helps with the bone pains, and Rhus helps with the stiffness and achiness of the muscles, both of which typically occur during the flu. While gelsemium is also very useful for the flu, it would tend to be used more when there is extreme fatigue and muscle weakness with the flu. This is a remedy that I personally tend to reach for during the flu, as I have found that my flu symptoms tend to be more gelsemium like than eupatorium like. As far as potency is concerned, this is a remedy that I like to have in all sorts of potencies. As I mentioned before, I recommend Eupatorium 30C be alternated with Rhus 30C every few hours when someone has the flu. In more severe cases, I might use Eupatorium 200C or even a 1M. I actually used the 1M myself when I was sick with what might have been COVID, like I described earlier. And there you have it, Eupatorium perfoliatum. I'll leave links in the description for you for some of the other remedies I mentioned in this video. And should you be interested in learning more about homeopathy, I'll also leave the link to my Intro to Homeopathy class. Don't forget to like this video and share it with your friends. And if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments and I'll do my best to answer those for you. Thank you for joining me, and I will see you next time.